maybe you are that friend, you just say things, and then it's like, whoa, man, read the room, and that's a little cold. But you're just like, I didn't mean anything by that. I just blah. But so here's Jesus' explanation of the notion of parable. Mark 13, verse 10. Then the disciples came and asked him, "Why do you speak speak to them in parables?" And he answered, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. The reason I speak to them in parables is that, seeing they do not perceive, and hearing they do not listen, nor do they understand. With them indeed is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah that says, you will indeed listen but never understand, and you will indeed look but never perceive. For this people's hearts has grown dull, and their ears are hard of hearing. And I have shut their eyes, so that they might not look with their eyes and listen with their ears and understand their heart and turn, and I would heal them." So there you go. Basically, the parable, he tells parables as so the people understand or the people don't. Well, again, Jesus, Mark would have said it somewhat like that, as opposed to Matthew's a little calmer. But the point still being, it's for those to understand. Now, trust me, for those who believe and those who are Reformed tradition like us, who are totally in the vein of Calvin. It was his birthday this past week. If he were still alive, he'd be 517. So, but he's not, or at least. Yeah, don't anybody say you talked to him on the phone the other day for 20 minutes. But that aside. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or the email from Neil, Reverend Carter. That dude's asking for your cash. But he always wants it in cards. But that aside, he believed in this notion of double predestination, that there are those who are elect in, and those who are elect out. We don't get to say, we don't have it, it's not up to us. And from his perspective, that was amazingly generous, because his notion was, if any are in, that's an amazing thing. Because Romans says, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Jesus said to the disciples in John chapter 6, you didn't elect me, I elected you. So here you have Jesus telling parables, so the people who get it, and the people who don't. And we all hear that and go,
it doesn't help.
It does no, right, you're right, absolutely right. And that's kind of the answers that Jesus tends to give. And so I always kind of, again, the cuddly teddy bear Jesus doesn't always show up in Scripture, the one that we cross-stitch on pillows and the like. So,
well, some get it and some don't.
Right.
Do the people who don't have an opportunity to get it?
Well, if you read Mark's version of this, absolutely not. And so it's like, oh. You're out. You're out. Or if you're in, you're in. And of course, Calvin was kind, because he would say, he'd give you this, he'd say, you kind of get a good idea of those who are in because they come to church more. I don't know if that's true or if that was just a great ploy to get people to come to church. I don't know. So, with this, I mean, the notion of the parable, the word parable is kind of this, it comes alongside. We often hear a parable and want to think that it's a nice story that kind of has a cute meaning and that it has we get it. Parables are definitely much more disconcerting. They're stories that they're told definitely the way Jesus uses them. They're much more for the people of his day. One of the ones that I read this week, articles I read, called them peasants. It's just folks. Let's just leave it with folks, okay? Because that peasant just seems like, is he talking about us? But yeah, people who, he was telling stories in language that they would get. But each story, each parable has a punch to it or a kick to it that's a little disabling. That, the prodigal son, the guy goes off and spends all the money, and the dad goes, come on back. They go, seriously? Is that the way we do this? Or when the Good Samaritan, I always laugh when the news says, well, here was a Good Samaritan today, helped somebody pull, and every time it's like, that is not what the Good Samaritan story is. The Good Samaritan story is the person you hate the most helps. And nobody likes that. Nobody wants that person, to help. The winner of the story is the person you dislike the most. And that's like, wait a second. The heroes that they looked to were the people that walked on by. That's no good. That's no good. That's no good. And so the parable is this story that kind of bumps up against us and makes us go, ooh, okay, let me think about this a little bit. And these are stories about the kingdom of God or God's reign, how God works in the world. And so, here we go. 13. And he splits it up, of course, because this is a story that he tells, the parable, and then he comes back and he talks to the disciples and tells them what it means. Okay? 13, 24 through 30, and then he comes back in 36 through 43. Here we go. And he put forth before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in his field. But while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from? And he answered, an enemy has done this. The slaves said to him, then do you want us to go and gather them? But he replied, no. For in gathering the weeds, you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time, I will tell the reapers, collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. So let's skip down to 36. Here we go. And then he left the crowds and he went into the house, and his disciples approached him saying, explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field. And he answered, the one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers. And they will throw them in the furnace of fire. where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone with ears listen. Okay. Familiar? Okay, most of it. Maybe not so much the explanation, but the first part.
Well, that's the first time I ever understood that parable. Because
Okay.
I guess I never got as far as the explanation.
Yeah. Well, the explanation is pretty straightforward. But I'm not necessarily, sometimes, well, let's get into it. What did y'all hear?
Well, one thing I found it interesting that the workers accused the owner of planting bad seed.
Well, they questioned him. They did. Yeah. They said, yeah.
Well, God said, let the sinners through here. Don't worry about them. I'll take care of them at the end.
Okay. That,
Yeah, we want things to be taken care of now.
yeah, let's don't get too close to the sermon. But yeah. Yeah, here you have the weeds in the wheat. And here's the disconcerting part of this parable. And this is how it throws us off, because we hear this, and in our culture we want to fix it. We want it right. We were just like, no, this is wrong. You gotta get that. You can't have the bad stuff. No.
Yeah, we want to root that out. Root
Right.
out the bad stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, I hear it and say, I want to be the good stuff.
Yeah, okay, you hear it. You want to be, okay, there you go. That's good. I mean, yeah. Well, that's a take on it too. I want to make sure that I'm not. Yeah. Okay, so definitely from a Reformed perspective, especially in the week of Calvin's birthday, this one is very cut and dry. And he would have been a very cut and dry. I can't tell you which one is the wheat and the wheat, but I can tell you this. God is sovereign. We picked that up in this parable, right? There's one Reformed tradition thing. God is sovereign. Remember I told you. Always start with that, no matter what. No matter what you're ever talking about, God is sovereign. Always start there and be, yeah, okay. Big Calvinist there. If there is such a thing, or if there's not such a thing. I don't know. But, so, God's sovereign in this parable. God's in control. Number one. Number two, there is this definite notion of reward punishment at the end. We get that. Or at least the way the explanation of the parable is. Okay? You got that. These. And who gets to make those decisions in this parable? Yeah. Not the servants. Not the servants. Okay? Hold on to that. So then, and it's not in their time, not when they want to do it. It's later. God's time. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. God's time. Okay. And so, do we like this parable?
No.
No? Why not?
Don't want this even if people around.
Okay.
I think it also says that in order for the righteous to survive, there has to be evil.
Oh, okay. Well, ultimately, okay. So there has to be some kind of, yeah.
That is true. If everything's good, you don't realize how good it is. Only when you see bad stuff, you know how well you have it.
Okay. So there has to be some designation there, gotcha. Okay. What else? Why don't we like this parable?
We want Jesus to be all peaches and cream and teddy bear.
Okay. We want Jesus to be.
And he's that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another side. You don't
Uh-huh.
go across it.
But when they get into the weeping and gnashing of teeth,
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
well, and it makes me think too of the exchange where the bad guy wanted Lazarus to come and give him some water, make him feel better.
Jump the chasm, right?
It's just, you know,
There,
if you're there, buddy.
yeah, at least, yeah, from this perspective, at least in this parable, or at least the way it's explained to the disciples, on this given day, there is this and there is this. And the uncomfortable part of this parable is that it's kind of going on at the same time, and we're kind of like, we really want to deal with this right now. And Jesus is, no, wait.
Because we want to know.
We're not going.
Is there anything that you started out in the weeds, you could end up weeding?
Oh, here we go. Well, here's the thing about this. Now in the explanation, it is a little more cut and dry, but maybe, just maybe, that people in the church, we kind of like this or don't like this parable because we want it taken care of real fast, and
We want to make the decision.
we want to make the decision, but we also read this parable from the side that we're the wheat. We're pretty sure we're the wheat. But we don't know that. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, life ain't, yeah. Ultimately, a lot of times, and we see it all. I wish that I could tell you that everything that I do is a pure motive and wonderful, and as the pastor, and I don't always know that. I'm not even sure sometimes. So I'm like, maybe the good news of this parable is that God gives time, because that we all might have these places of of weeds in our life that we need to get rid of. And having a little more time is not necessarily a bad thing. That maybe there was a place in my life where if the folks would have thrown out the weeds, I'd have gotten pitched. Or just because people think we have the right perspective, if we get to make those decisions, there is isn't there just in any of us some creeping notion that we could be wrong? Huh? I'm probably not, but well, what if I am? And those times that we are wrong. Or, and I think about this too, because in this past month I did a wedding for some friends of ours. They were wonderful people, great. Weddings are hunky-dory, love them, woohoo. And now we can even I've found out, hey, if you have weddings outside, you even have drones as a part of the wedding. So there was a drone hovering over me the whole time videoing, and I was just like, that's weird. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just like, that thing, can that thing shoot at me? Or so there's a drone. I know. It's like, okay. But weddings, and I think back over all the years, as this past week, Jerry Garcia's last concert, July the 9th, 1995, my ordination date, 31 years ago. All in the same day. Poor Jerry and the church. So I think about all the people all the couples that I've married over the years, and I'm sorry, but I am a human being, and I go, I don't know about these two. I'm not so sure. Or, boy, this is a wonderful couple. They are amazing. And after a certain number of years, find out, oh, that couple I didn't think had a chance are doing great. And that couple I thought was just amazing are in court seriously fighting over custody of their kid, and it is awful, awful, ugly. So I go, this parable might have a little sense to it, because maybe, I just don't exactly know everything that's going to unfold. Now, because of our time, what does this mean for us as a church? What does this parable do to us?
You have to listen and try to understand.
Listen and try to understand. Okay?
It's really not our decision what weeds you throw out.
Right.
You gotta do your best and just.
Wow. I got to hold my breath here. I mean, it's just like, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not our decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody in favor of that? I don't like that at all. Yeah.
It may not be our decision, but yet it's kind of like you don't want to associate with the hoodlums.
Yeah.
If you associate with them,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, yeah, that's right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Why
I can't.
can a weed not become wheat? I mean, the whole idea of repenting, it sounds like timing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start out as a weed and then become a wheat.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing we have to do about parables is that sometimes we have this place of like, we go, okay, this is hard, fast rule. But if we tell this parable over against another parable, we go, okay, wait a second. So we do have to hear, these are aspects of the kingdom of God, or the kingdom of heaven, as Matthew says it. Matthew does it. That what we need to take away from this is much more, we don't get to say.
that deathbed confession, we don't get to say, it was not serious.
Yes. Right. Well, I mean, that's, yeah. That's, okay. Yeah. And we never know along the way too what might happen. I mean, now, and again, we have to temper this parable over against others, because there are others that talk about the church in Matthew 16 and Matthew 18, where he talks about the church having church discipline that we have to deal with. But this one for today kind of calls for us that we have to do this thing. It's a little bit about patience, which is hilarious that I'm the one up here talking about that. But that it also means that this sovereign God who is in control kind of has a place, and that this is not naive. He's not being naive here. It's not saying there aren't weeds. There are weeds. There are definitely weeds. But it's also saying that we have to be very careful about how we start picking who the weeds in the weeds are. Always. Because some of those marriages we are so sure are going to make it don't, and some of those marriages we thought, ooh, y'all don't have prayer. You know, that's funny. But with that, you know, that we don't always know. That we don't have that place as the church of deciding who's in and who's out, per se.
That's the reminder
Yeah, right. And again, on some levels, we should say that's a good thing because we all might have weeds in our life that we need to weed out.
Would that go, as far as the church goes, would that mean we got a whole congregation here of people?
Yeah.
And we could be critical and say, these people here really aren't Christian, maybe they shouldn't be here.
Right.
And as, where we could actually throw out the good with some of the bad, or it's not really up to us to do that. We shouldn't
Right.
be doing that.
That's the scary part. Previous church, kid used to sit about fourth row back, right in front of me. He comes in with flaming red hair and jeans that he had cut that were, and there's nobody who could cut that poorly unless they attempted to. And so they were really jagged. He wore white t-shirts and he would write things across over it, like long before goat meant greatest of all time, he just wrote the word goat. One time he came in with the word poop on it. I mean, you're just like, what is wrong with this kid? He just did it because he just did it to make everybody else go like that. But truly, when you got down to who he was behind this craziness that he did, he was a really amazing kid who did a lot of neat things, but just did this sort of stuff to get people to go, what's wrong with him? I don't know. But in time, left alone, and just, he turned out to be a really good kid who does a lot of neat things as an adult. And he was just given space, and you just go, what in the world? But I don't know. Right. Yeah. And I have to say that I've probably even told y'all the story before when he brought his girlfriend to Montreat, and she sat with our group, and she was decked out and she Pets R Us or something. I mean, she wore a dog collar and she had all this crazy pet supply. I mean, she's buying these accessories at Pets R Us instead of Claire's or like other kids were doing, and I'm just like going, what's wrong with you? But you know, we're walking down to communion together, and she turns around and said, isn't communion just an amazing thing? I mean, just the spirit of faith and God with us. And then just turned around, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, you know? And this kid who's, you know, shopping at Pets R Us for herself, and I'm like, yeah, you know? And this parable just says for us to kind of step back and hold on just a little bit before we get too judgy, I guess. Because we're not exactly, and that is difficult for the church to be that. But that's what this one kind of calls for us to, hey, God, I guess what this ultimately does is it asks us to say, do we really believe God's got this? And my actions oftentimes say, nah, I don't really believe he does. God, if you just hold on a little bit, I can get this right for you. And he's like, I think I can do it.
Well, there we struggle with, what do we do, or do we just sit and do nothing?
Right. It is a struggle.
We need to be proactive,
Right. Right.
not just sit there and say, God's got this, I don't need to do that.
Yeah, ultimately, and that is the balance of, like I said, when we get to chapter 16 and 18, because I also remember when I was a student in Raleigh, the session had to excommunicate this guy, which I don't even know if you can really do. I mean, you sort of can, but you sort of can't, but had to because of some of the things he was doing in the congregation. And that isn't a place you could go, okay, there's weed and weed. But the ultimate to say that if we get to judge, oh, this person definitely is out, so we need to throw them out of the, the church visible, the church invisible. That's kind of where this comes into play. And, but that if we have a little bit of patience with people that we're not quite sure about, maybe, God's trying to tell us something. It also goes to say that being the church ain't exactly easy. And that's why you hear more and more people going, I just want to worship God off by myself. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but you don't get to do that. Yeah, doesn't work that way. So, everybody, it's all that easy and it's all that hard today. Something for us to think about. Let's pray. Gracious God, give us the patience to allow you to be God in situations in our lives. Not too quick to throw out folks just because we might think they're weeds, but that your sovereignty reigns still, and that even against our better judgment, you are sovereign and you are in control.